Good day everybody. In today's video we will be comparing two very outspoken and controversial people, the political commentator Ben Shapiro and the clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson. But before we start, please support the channel by leaving a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Be sure to turn on notifications too so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. Let's get right into the video. Number 1. Careers. Let's start with Jordan Peterson. Between 1993 and 1998 he was an assistant professor in the psychology department at Harvard University. Peterson has authored or co-authored more than 100 academic papers and has been cited almost 8,000 times as of mid-2017.
Okay, well, with regards to your second point, if the people that you're listening to aren't randomly selected from a population, then their opinions are worthless from the perspective of testimony, because you don't know if you're dealing with a biased sample. And that's a big problem with the public consultation process that underlied this bill. And you can not appreciate that if you'd like, but it's standard practice in any polling institution or any body that's attempting to extract a genuine opinion out of a so-called community of people. And if that isn't followed, then you can't tell if the information that you're receiving is biased. And this, with regards to your first point, what exactly are all those people who aren't thinking the same way as
Peterson had maintained a clinical practice seeing about 20 people a week. He had been active on social media, and in September 2016 he released a series of videos in which he criticized Bill C-16. He temporarily stopped teaching in 2018 to focus on other projects.
Well, thank you for that insanely enthusiastic welcome for the entire event and also for being here. I have to tell you first that this event, and I suppose my life in some sense, hit a new milestone that I was just made aware of by a stagehand today backstage, who informed me that last week the tickets for this event were being scalped online at a higher price than the tickets for the Leafs playoff games.
What about Ben Shapiro? In 2012, Shapiro became an editor for Breitbart News, a conservative website founded by Andrew Breitbart, but he resigned in March of 2016. Also in 2012, Shapiro joined KRLA AM 870 as a host on the morning radio program alongside Haiti Harris and Brian Whitman. Years later, Shapiro founded The Daily Wire in 2015. He was the editor-in-chief as well as the host of his very own political podcast called The Ben Shapiro Show. In March of 2019, the podcast was ranked by Podtrac as the second most popular podcast in the US.
Reality. It's a rift in the space-time continuum. See, there's reality on the one end, and this reality basically says that COVID's bad, it's risky, we should be careful. Also, it says that despite reopening in Texas, Arizona, and Florida, and despite the fact that there were increased hospitalizations and some increased deaths, that number has started to go down again. These data suggest that things are not looking bad in places like New York and New Jersey, that despite an increase in cases in Massachusetts, you're not seeing an overwhelming wave of death. That, in fact, this is a virus that we are learning how to deal with, that the treatments are getting better, that people are generally being more careful, and that while we should be risk-averse.
But recently, Ben Shapiro stepped down from his role as editor-in-chief at The Daily Wire. Shapiro started hosting the Ben Shapiro election special on Fox News in 2018 during the midterm elections. He makes a lot of appearances on Fox News. Number 2. Speakers. Ben Shapiro is a regular speaker at college campuses all over the United States. He has lots of notorious moments from many different places he has spoken at. He spoke at 37 campuses between early 2016 and late 2017. His appearances usually cause a stir because there does happen to be students in attendance that do not agree with him, so much so that they hire a large amount of security just in case things boil over way too much.
The wave here is okay. At baseball games, it's communism. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've talked a lot about various themes that you see on college campuses and in our politics. I've talked about white privilege and why I think it's nonsense.
He is highly demanded and the attendance for his appearances are always extremely high. Jordan Peterson also does a lot of speaking, not only as a professor, but he touches on other subjects like relationships, how to be successful in life, and much more.
You're having an argument with your partner, and you say, "You're a stupid person, and you've always been a stupid person, and as far as I can tell, as far into the future as I can see, you're going to remain a stupid person." So what are they supposed to do? What are they going to do when you say that? They're going to cry, like if you mean it. They're going to get angry, if you mean it. And they're not going to like you very much. And why is that? Well, it's like, it's assault, basically. The only way, really, the only thing that you can do in a situation like that is walk away, ignore it, respond in kind, or it degenerates into violence. That's it. Because there's no discussion. You haven't left the person anywhere to go. You've gone right to the top of their hierarchy and said
He is not as controversial in some respects as Ben Shapiro, but he does have pretty interesting political views, but more on that later. Jordan tends to make a lot of appearances on shows and does a lot of interviews where he talks about a lot of things like Christianity, for example, and a whole host of many other topics.
Well, I don't know what people mean when they say believe. Like it's as if that question explains itself when it's asked. It's like it doesn't. What do you mean by believe? And what do you mean by God? And what makes you think that the question that I'm answering is the same one that you're asking? If this is not something that you can say yes or no to in any straightforward manner. So I find it an off-putting question. And I don't think it's because I'm avoiding the issue. I think that to answer it properly requires books and lectures. So,
do you see yourself at least in the Christian tradition as far as your, I suppose, worldview?
There's no doubt about that because I'm a Westerner. There's no escape from that.
Jordan also has his own YouTube channel which is self-titled. He recorded a lot of his lectures and uploaded it to the channel, and he also has a podcast to go with it. One of his recent ones is a podcast with his daughter after he underwent rehab. Number 3. Books. Both of these men are authors. Ben Shapiro, though, has more books than Jordan Peterson. Jordan just has 2 books, one of them being Maps of Meaning, The Architecture of Belief. This was written back in 1999. This book took him about 13 years to complete. The book sees Jordan Peterson describe the comprehensive theory about how people construct meaning, form beliefs, and make narratives. His second book is more recent as it was published in 2018. The book is titled 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. In this book, Jordan presents abstract ethical principles about life in a more accessible style than his previous book.
You've sold 2 million copies of 12 Rules for Life. You have 800,000 followers on Twitter, 1.4 million followers on YouTube. What is it that you're selling that so many people want to buy?
I don't think I'm selling anything.
Well, I went to a show where you were selling tickets to your show, so people are willing to pay a lot of money to see you speak. You know, what is it that you think that people are hungry for? They want to hear from you.
They're hungry for a discussion of the relationship between responsibility and meaning. And we haven't had that discussion in our culture for 50 years. We've concentrated on rights and privileges and freedom.
As for Ben Shapiro, he has published 7 books, with his most recent one being published in May of 2020, called How to Destroy America in 3 Easy Steps. Ben published his very first book in 2004.
Today I'm revealing the title and cover of my brand new book, How to Destroy America in 3 Easy Steps. It is available for pre-sale at dailywire.com/Ben. That's dailywire.com/Ben. Here's what's important about the book. The country is falling apart. We all know this. I mean, the country was falling apart months ago, before coronavirus. The coronavirus pandemic has really exacerbated a lot of the divisions that undergirded what was happening before. What we are watching right now is at least half the country really does not see America as a cohesive unit. It doesn't see America as an idea. It doesn't see America as a nation. Instead, America is a set of competing interests. America is just a bunch of groups that hate each other, and whoever grasps the brass ring of power is able to cram down their viewpoint.
Number 4. Views. Jordan and Ben share more or less the same views when it comes to transgender people. They both believe that even though they are transgender, they are still their biological gender.
Well, the policies. Well, one of the policies was that if you didn't use the preferred pronouns of a given group, that you could be charged essentially with a hate crime. And I thought, no,
which
that's
given group is that? You're talking about transgender people.
Yeah, and so there's all these pronouns that have come up. There's 70 different sets of pronouns approximately to hypothetically describe people who don't fit anywhere on the gender spectrum, which is also something that I don't really understand. I don't understand that conceptually. Like,
we'll come to that. But I just want to hear the story of this bill first.
Okay, so now a person is compelled under Canadian law to use the pronoun of another individual's choice on pain of law.
Their view has been questioned and criticized many times. Both even refer to them by their biological pronoun, and they have offended many by doing so.
Why are we mainstreaming delusion?
It's not delusion.
Why would you call it delusion?
Because Caitlyn Jenner, I'll call him Caitlyn Jenner.
No,
because
it's
that's
her. You're not being polite to the pronoun.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. It turns out that he still has all of his male appendages. How he feels on the inside is irrelevant to the question of his biological sex.
I don't agree with that. I'm not on that train. I'm not on that train. She wants to be called she. I'm going to call her she. I just have a problem with the message and the messenger.
So well, let's I'm going to do two things.
They have both publicly said that they will not be forced into using the pronoun that they want, and they are very firm on their view. They have been interviewed about it many times and they do not waver. That will be all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, then please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more videos like this and much more. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.